Hello all and welcome back to the Ascent Cycling Podcast for the daily recap number 12 after stage number 12 of the Giro d'Italia, a stage between Siena and Bagno di Romagna, which saw a win from Aja de Zer La Mondiale and Andrea Vendrame in the breakaway. An interesting day for the breakaway, not so much for the GC, but first of all, Joe, how are you today?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Perfect. I'm absolutely living the life. It's great. As you can see once again, shirt, sweater, UK, not UK. But yeah, a very good day for a peloton that probably at one point wished they had more than just a cycling kit because the rain poured down midway through the stage. Thankfully, the conditions were better in the final 40-50k of the stage. But as I said, a win by Andrea Vendrame in a small sprint ahead of Chris Hamilton from the team DSM. And then we had George Bennett and Januka Brambilla ending up in third and fourth, respectively, with some feud potentially between the two riders. We'll dig into that later. And then the peloton arriving about 10 minutes after the breakaway. Nothing too much happening in the peloton, sorry, except an attack by Giulio Ciccone and Vincenzo Nibali. But yeah, Joe, a good day for the breakaway today.
Really was. I mean, it took a long time for them to go. I'm talking, I think, 70 kilometers, 60 or so kilometers before the breakaway did make their way up the roads. When it finally did, we saw some strong riders. Diego Ulissi, your prediction, up the road alongside the likes of Geoffrey Bouchard and the aforementioned names as well. So it was a strong group. And I think as soon as they went, they were going to win the stage. It was pretty certain of that. I don't think Ineos are interested in chasing stage wins at all at this Giro, especially after Egan Bernal won that stage a few days ago now. So yeah, it was a great day for the breakaway and they dominated the stage for sure.
They really did. And I think it was quite odd to see Ineos pace in the first 50, 60 kilometers. I think they went about like 47 kilometers an hour for the first hour of racing, which is not something I think anyone expected because we all thought it would be like a rest day for the peloton. But yeah, a group with the likes of Ulissi, Giovanni Visconti. And I mean, you said that Diego Ulissi was my pick. He was indeed. I did mention Vendrame yesterday, but I wasn't confident. I should have backed myself because he did take the win. You backed. I mean, you were nearly correct. You backed an Australian from Team DSM who's never won on the Giro. Just got the wrong name.
I did indeed. I mean, I actually think I meant to say Chris Hamilton as well instead of Michael Storer. I'm going to go with that anyway at this point, but I don't know. It was second anyway, and I think you were closer with that one. Anyway, the scoreboard does remain 2-1 on the prediction in favour of you, but still to play for with a sprint stage tomorrow. But also, we have to discuss a lot of DNFs today with some big riders crashing out. We saw, I mean, firstly, Alessandro De Marchi fears that it could have been a serious injury to the Italian who was in the pink jersey not too long ago. But I think he's fractured his collarbone with 6 broken ribs, but I think that's probably a good outcome considering what people may have thought seeing him on the side of the roads. Obviously, very severe injuries nonetheless. But also, Gino Maida crashes out. Marc Soler as well has withdrawn from the race among a bunch of other names. I know Fausto Masnada, a strong domestique for Deceuninck Quickstep as well. So I think we had almost 10 riders DNFing the stage today, Guillaume.
Absolutely. I think the Marquis crash was quite shocking, and Rai, the Italian TV, really like showed the images of him being like carried by the ambulance, and it was very like it was uncomfortable watching it. But as you said, he's got a fractured collarbone, 6 ribs, and I think he's got 2 vertebrae in a place I do not know how to say because I'm not a doctor, but it's rumored that it could be due to his the placement of his radio on the back. So we'll see how that goes. Marc Soler crashing out early on as well. Kobe Rossens from Lotto Sudal also DNFing. I feel like I have a curse because I said that Bardet would win Strade Bianche. He lost time. I said that Marc Soler would attack. He DNF'd. I said that Kobe Rossens would have an incredible third week. He DNF'd. I said that Gino Maida would come second today. He DNF'd. So yeah, my podcaster curse, if that's a thing, is really active today. But yeah, quite a few DNFs. No sprinters DNFing though ahead of tomorrow's sprint stage.
No, and surprising actually. I mean, I guess that the slow tempo on the longer climbs really did help the likes of Groenewegen get over those climbs today. And the race didn't really start until about 20k to go, to be honest, after that chase for the breakaway. And we saw Andrea Vendrame attack on that final climb after I think Brambilla was quite active. And the commentators were saying that Vendrame is the quickest guy here. He just needs to hold the wheels. And as soon as they said that, Vendrame was gone, solo attacking, trying to get away. And Chris Hamilton, George Bennett, and Gianluca Brambilla, the only riders who could follow. And they did eventually catch up to Vendrame, where in the flat run into the line, the final kilometres, we saw something strange between George Bennett and Gianluca Brambilla. I don't think they were getting on too well before that. And I think Chris Hamilton attacked, Andrea Vendrame followed. Brambilla went to follow, then pulls over, and George Bennett refused to come through until the line, I think. So those guys not too happy with each other, especially as well after Brambilla deviated. I think he was relegated to 4th after beating Bennett to 3rd place in the sprint. So those two aren't going to be chatting all day in the peloton tomorrow en route to Verona, I feel.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going on holidays either. But it was a weird move by Brambilla and Bennett. Just to come back on Vendrame, very smart decision in my opinion from him to attack on that final climb, because he's the fastest, but I think purely on paper he would be the least able to go over the climb with the first group. So the fact that he had a small lead kind of allowed him to go at his own tempo, his own rhythm. Settled into a groove. But yeah, then I think I listened to George Bennett's interview post race. I didn't listen to Brambilla. I mean, I still like a quote, but I didn't listen to him. But George Bennett basically said that he knows he's the slowest of the group sprint wise, or he was like 3rd or 4th with Brambilla, to be honest. And he has had enough of just chasing everyone down. So he felt that it was Brambilla's job. Brambilla felt exactly the opposite. And then a bit of a conflict between the two riders, but a very active trek because Brambilla did attack, but in the peloton we had some attacks as well in that final climb, which is not necessarily something Ineos probably expected nor wanted. But we've had Giulio Ciccone going for a move alongside Vincenzo Nibali, the two Italian riders from Trek. Then got caught by Ineos, and I think Moscon did something quite stupid. He decided to follow Nibali in a downhill portion. He crashed.
He definitely did. Not advised to try and follow the Squallow in a downhill portion of road, that is for sure. And I mean, it looked like a pretty doomed attack from the start. I mean, when Ciccone and Nibali went, there were still about 5 or 6 Ineos riders in the group to control. But then, of course, Nibali did go solo in that descent. They asked the question of Ineos, and who knows? I mean, on another day, he may have got a bigger gap, but in the end, he did hold the gap to the line. And I think it was 7 seconds he gains on the rest of the GC guys. It's not obviously a Giro winning move, but I think it will give the Shark a bit of confidence, even though he's obviously expended a lot more energy with that attack there. What do you make of that attack, Guillaume? Do you think it was worthwhile?
I feel like the sole benefit is that it's going to give him confidence and morale going into the next mountain stages. However, I do think on the purely like physical point, it's stupid because he's having to. I mean, in the downhill portion, we all know Nibali is a goat, but then you had about 5.3 kilometer of false flat portion in a valley where he was on his own, chased by an entire peloton led by Ineos, to hold on to a gap of 8 seconds, knowing that you're not fighting for anything GC wise. I don't see how it's gotten. I don't see the edge. Sure, tomorrow is going to be a massive rest day for the peloton. I get that, but I feel like at this point, if it's to gain 8 seconds, you might as well just stay in the peloton. Do the downhill portion, have fun at the downhill, see if you can make Moscon crash, but then just drop back.
I don't know. I quite like it. I feel like it's good to. We know Nibali is aggressive. We know Ciccone is aggressive as well. Those guys can't help themselves from attacking. And I feel like Nibali is 4 minutes down the GC. He's not a prime contender to win this Giro. So why not try some moves like this? He does have the rest day. I mean, rest day, inverted quotes, the sprint day tomorrow with 200 meters of climbing. So I feel like it's a good move for Trek. Obviously, it's not going to win them loads of time. It's not going to win them the Giro. It's not even going to put Nibali back in the top 10. But Nibali, he wants to let everyone know that he's here at this Giro and still fighting to try and maybe put in a real shark attack in the final week.
Oh, I think we'll see a shark attack. He looks to be in good condition.
Yeah, I will say that. I feel like he is growing into the race. Obviously, he had that fractured wrist, and it does seem like he is improving as the days go by. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can actually do in this final week. I had ruled him out of the GC really before this race got going, but you know, he's there. He's clinging on.
He really is. As I said, stage 16, Cortina d'Ampezzo, it still screams Nibali to me, even more today.
So I'm not sure if you've noticed, Guillaume, but there were a few riders in the GC or who were close in the GC who have lost some time today. Among them, Pale Bilbao lost 2 minutes on the GC guys, but even further back is Jai Hindley. He lost 7 minutes today. Now, he wasn't obviously really in the GC. I think he was 6 or 7 minutes down at the beginning of the stage. And I also noticed that Jai Hindley did try to go in the breakaway for today. But I mean, he was kind of bullied into going back into the group because everyone was chasing him because Hindley was in that group. So I feel like Hindley is now obviously not going for GC. He's going to try and maybe get a breakaway win, which I think is a nice move for Hindley because Bardet is their clear leader now in the GC, and Hindley can now do the George Bennett card of going up the road and maybe snagging a stage win as well.
Absolutely. I didn't know for Pierre Bilbao. I was aware for Jai. But it's a good move. It's a good move. And I think right now he was in a bit of a tough situation because he wasn't fighting for GC, but he couldn't also fight for the stages because he was too far behind. I think it's similar to what George Bennett might experience in the coming days because he did make a comeback in the GC today. But I think it'll be good. We'll see some attacks from DSM in the mountain stages, and maybe this time you'll pick the correct Australian. Last thing before moving on to tomorrow's preview, Geoffrey Bouchard, who said 2 or 3 days ago at the end of stage 9 that he only focused on the stage wins and did not care about the Maglia Azzurra, now has 96 points, therefore twice as many points as Egan Bernal, who's his current runner-up. So I believe he actually might care about the Maglia Azzurra. But yeah, the Frenchman in a commanding lead right now. I think Bernal is second with Gino Meda as well out of the running for the Maglia Azzurra. Geoffrey has a decent shout at doubling Maglia Azzurra and the jersey of the mountain in the Vuelta.
So looking ahead to stage 13 now of the Giro d'Italia, and we have the flattest stage of the race, the most exciting parcours at 200 meters of climbing across almost 200 kilometers of road, taking place from Ravenna to Verona. And as well, we've had some technical sprint finishes so far at this race. It's not the same today. We have pretty much a straight road for the final kilometers, bar one big roundabout, which I actually did look at on Google Maps. It seems like it's a very big roundabout, so it should be fairly safe for the peloton to negotiate as well. So we're going to have a sprint finish in Verona. Guillaume, do you have any thoughts ahead of this stage?
I mean, I'm actually surprised that the Giro has managed to find a parcours this flat. It's absolutely unreal. Usually you'd expect to have 1 or 2 hills, but no, this is so flat. It's like it's an ironing board. It's unreal. But I believe this means that we cannot avoid a mass sprint today in the streets of Verona. And with Caleb Ewan out of the running, with Tim Merlier out, with Groenewegen, we still don't know if he's actually on the Giro or not. This leaves potentially a chance for an Italian sprinter from Quebeca.
Oh, don't say it. Giacomo Nizzolo, 11 runners-up. No stage wins. Could it finally be his day? No hills as well, which obviously he would get dropped on, judging by his form at the Giro so far as well. This is Nizzolo's final chance at this Giro if he's going to finally get his first Grand Tour stage. I'm pretty sure of that. But, like you say, no Merlier, no Ewan, but we do have Peter Sagan, who seems to be growing in form as the race goes on in that Ciclamino jersey. Fernando Gaviria as well. Is it finally going to click for him and Milano and UAE? We've got Viviani as well for Cofidis. He's had some moments at this race, despite not looking quite back to his old form. Other riders as well, Matteo Moschetti for Trek, Davide Cimolai. He's had 3 podiums as well so far at this Giro. So you say it could be for Nizzolo. There's a lot of competition still here, despite Ewan and Merlier exiting.
Absolutely. There's a lot of names, and there's one name I have an eye on, which you haven't mentioned, and that is Stefano Oldani from Lotto Soudal. I do like him. He got, I believe, 4th place on Peter Sagan's win on stage 10, was it? So I'm definitely keeping an eye out for Stefano Oldani. And I think we're going to have to give our podium for tomorrow. I'll let you go first, actually, for once.
Well, I'm wondering if you're going to firstly pick Andrea Vendrame this time, because who knows? Could we have a back-to-back Andrea Vendrame stage win at the Giro? He was top 10 on a sprint not too long ago, and we know he can go in the mass sprints. I'm just imagining Vendrame winning tomorrow's stage as well. Would be stupendous. Let's just say that. But my prediction, I'm going to go for a UAE redemption ride in the form of Fernando Gaviria, being led out by Juan Sebastian Milano. I think Gaviria is going to win stage 13 of the Giro. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to cruelly put Giacomo Nizzolo on the second step of the podium for the 12th time in his career. And I'll go for a bit of a wild card. I'll go for Matteo Moschetti. Well, I don't know if he's a wild card, but he's never been on the podium at a Grand Tour. So Matteo Moschetti to finish third is my podium.
So no need Zolo to win. Okay, that's good to know. Because I, on the other hand, I'm going to please the people. No, that's a lie. I'm sorry. Nizzolo is second as well on my prediction. I'm so sorry. I don't know. And for the win, I'm going to back Elia Viviane from Team Cofidis to get a second win after Victor Lafay. And third place is going to be another Italian, Davide Cimolai.
It's a good shout. I like it. I mean, 3 podiums at this Giro already. I checked today. He's ridden about 10 Grand Tours and he's never been on the podium on a single stage before this race. So he's already had 3 podiums. He's clearly in fantastic form. But Israel obviously down to the bare bones, you could say, after today's stage, losing to Marquis and Alex Dowsett.
Yeah, and they had lost Chris Nilans in the first stage, or between the first and second stage. Yeah. The only thing for them is that they've lost completely the GC with Dan Martin, so they can solely focus on Cimolai, I guess, tomorrow. But we'll see how that goes for them. But yeah, Cimolai to get third, meaning that we'll have an interesting stage 15 in my eyes, because Peter Sagan will try and secure Ciclamino, and Cimolai will try and get Ciclamino.
Oh, that's an interesting shout, because what is his deficit? Is it 18 points?
18 points, yes. It is 18 points, and I believe there's 20 points for whoever finishes in third place.
Yeah, and Gaviria is tied on points as well with Cimolai. Yep. So I actually have Gaviria moving into that Ciclamino jersey. And Gaviria, he was in the breakaway on a mountain stage not too long ago. I think he'll try and fight for that Ciclamino jersey, Will Gaviria. And he seems to be climbing fairly well. So he's still in that fight too. But I feel like we'll see the likes of Nizzolo, probably Groenewegen, DNF after this stage, do you think, ahead of the Zoncolan?
If Nizzolo didn't win, yeah, I think he's gone. To be fair, even if he wins, I think he's gone.
And if he wins, he's definitely gone.
Yeah, and if Groenewegen, as I said, I'm not sure he's arrived yet at the Giro, so might as well leave.
He might as well, yeah. So just a few other names I'm looking out for who could maybe get a top 5. You never know with the riders who have exited the race. Filippo Fiorelli, also Andrea Pasqualon, and even Gianni Vermeersch of Alpecin Phoenix. You know, to go with Stefano Oldani, he's kind of filling in for Caleb Ewan. I think Vermeersch would do the same for Alpecin, and he was a top 5 as well on that stage that Sagan won. So I feel like with the names that have dropped out, we could have some riders sneaking into a podium or a top 5 tomorrow.
I think so. And I mean, you've mentioned in a joking manner, or more of a sarcastic way, Andrea Vendrame, but he could get a top 5 as well. He's got the pace, he's got the legs, but is he going to go for a top 5 after today's stage? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, he's going to try, and I'll definitely, you can be assured, be posting that clip of me saying that on Twitter if he does go on to win the stage.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, obviously, I'll ask the social media manager of the Ascent Cycling Podcast, aka me, to do it. Therefore, if it's something in your favor, it ain't happening.
Anyway, we hope you enjoyed today's daily recap at the Giro d'Italia. If you did, make sure you hit the likes, subscriptions, follows, good reviews, always helping us out. And let us know who you think is going to win stage 13. I've gone Gaviria. Guillaume has gone for Viviani. I'm hoping to draw it back to 2-2 in the prediction standings, whilst he's hoping to gain a 3-1 win, which could be uncatchable. We'll see. But Guillaume, do you have any final words?
I'm sorry, Giacomo, but you're getting second.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.